AITA for flipping out on my husband via text after he let his phone die during a family emergency? So I, 34F, and my husband, 35M, had a plan this weekend that he would be the next state over for a college reunion while I stayed home with our 1-year-old baby. All is fine and well until yesterday right before he was leaving for the party that was at a bar, and I got an unexpected call from my parents who also live out of state. I am a nurse, so they were asking what they should do with my grandma, who called them stating that she couldn't feel her foot and that she was in excruciating pain. I told them to take her to the ER immediately, and they said she couldn't walk, so I told them to call an ambulance. I called my husband right after, and the last update that I gave him before his party was that they were transferring her to another hospital for emergency surgery for a life-threatening condition. I was waiting anxiously at home when the surgery was taking way longer than expected, greater than 3 hours. My husband hadn't checked in at all. I got a text from a number that I didn't know that was a drunk selfie of some guy and my husband, with zero context. I texted my husband and said that I was worried sick about my grandma and didn't appreciate getting texted drunk selfies from random people. Heard nothing. After an hour I texted the random number and asked if my husband's phone had died, and he said yes, smiley face. Here's where I'm AITA, I texted back, cool, my grandma is still in emergency surgery, smiley face. I never got a reply to this. About 4 hours later, when my grandma survived and was transferred to the ICU, I texted my husband how much he had let me down. This turned into a fight where he believes that he did no wrong because I knew he was looking forward to this party for 2 months and he couldn't do anything anyway. I blew up and told him how irresponsible it was for him to get drunk and let his phone die while I was alone with our baby during a family emergency. He apologized for not checking in more, to which I corrected that he didn't check in at all, not even the next morning, and he says that he did his due diligence in making himself reachable, and I said that a random number texting me a drunk selfie does not count as him telling me that his phone was dead and that's how I should reach him. He said the name of the bar in passing a few times, but I couldn't remember the name and I did not know the name of his hotel. He says I'm just overreacting and it's not a big deal because it's not like he could do anything from another state and that he did no wrong. Seeing his friends was important to him and a lot of them he hasn't seen in 15 years, and that he shouldn't have to disrupt his plans to cater to me. I didn't ask him to take the next flight home, just be available or communicate that he wasn't. I told him that I was afraid and he could have at least checked to see if I was okay, and that it also isn't okay to let your phone die when someone else has your child even without an emergency. So, AITA for flipping out on him? ETA that the emergency happened right before the party, so he was sober at that time and aware that the situation was touch and go. I called him immediately after I had my parents call 911. AITA for telling my sister I would say I told you so if she gets cancer? Sorry for errors, English is not my native language. I, F27, really enjoy motocross, and although I'm an amateur I spend a lot of my time and money on it. My sister, F31, has always kinda despised the sport. She is always saying that it's dangerous and that I shouldn't be doing it because I will get hurt. 3 weeks ago I fell on a jump and broke my ankle and shattered my knee. It is still unsure what kind of recovery I will make, and I was, and still kinda am, mentally in a bad place as well. Like I said, I really love drifting around on my motorcycle and I would be devastated if I can never do it again. When my sister came to visit me at the hospital, the first thing she said to me was, "I told you this would happen." I was shocked by this, especially because she did not say anything else after that. No empathy or compassion at all. It almost seemed like she was happy to finally be proven right. Now on to the part where I think I might be the asshole. For context, my sister has been smoking cigarettes for the past 14 years. I have never really said anything bad about it, except for when she asked about it or tried to convince me of the benefits of it. So when she said "I told you so" to me at the hospital, I replied with nice response, "I will remember it for when you get lung cancer." She got incredibly upset, called me a bitch and left. I have not spoken to her since, but I have gotten some angry texts from our parents saying that I crossed the line. I don't stand behind what I said because I would never do that to her if she would get lung cancer, but I meant it more as an example to show how insensitive her comment was. AITA? TLDR, I injured my leg during motocross and my sister said "I told you so," so I said that I would say the same thing to her if she gets cancer for smoking. Cancer for smoking. Cancer for smoking. Cancer for smoking. Cancer. AITA for not saying anything to my son who told a teacher that she was dismissed. My son Brandon graduated high school on Friday and me, his mom/my ex, our 2 other kids, my 5-year son Grant/Brandon's half-brother, and my wife all attended. Grant knew that it was a special day for Brandon and made his a card and bought him a big lollipop. Brandon's was seated in front of us and I told Grant to go give him his presents. He went over there and my son's class was just showering him with attention. The ceremony begun and Grant was just sitting on Brandon's lap. I thought about going over there, but if Grant was being trouble then Brandon would tell him to go back to us. They called my son's name and he walked the stage with Grant. It was a lot of fun for them. After the ceremony, a teacher came to Brandon and told him he shouldn't have let his brother on the stage. It's a privilege for graduating seniors only. My son told her that she was dismissed and turned his back on her. He didn't really know her. I thought she was out of line, so I laughed at her. She walked away. I got an email from the VP who told me that my son humiliated a staff and wasn't welcomed back on campus unless he apologized. He didn't see much of a problem with my son walking the stage with my other son, just his attitude. I said he's not apologizing, and what good is banning him from campus? He hated school. AITA for telling my husband I'm not comfortable driving with our newborn 3 hours every day to take my older stepson to school. My husband, 36M, and I, 33F, have been together for 6 years. He has a son, 10M, from a previous marriage that goes to school 45 minutes away from us, right next to his bio mom's house. He is with us almost 5 days out of the week, so either my husband or I have been driving him to school every day. That's almost 3 hours back and forth. I asked for him to be moved to a school that's closest to us, since he spends the majority of the time at our house. My husband and his ex decided that for now it's best that he goes to the same school because of familiarity, and maybe next year he'll go closer to us. It's ultimately their decision, not mine. I am currently pregnant and our baby is due at the very end of December, 12/31. I asked my husband if my SS can be taken to school by his bio mom for a month or so after the baby is home, so that I don't have to drive 3 hours every day with a newborn in the cold and Midwest snow. Especially since winter break is over a week or so after I give birth. To my surprise, I got hit with "Don't worry, bio mom and I will figure out the arrangement for our son. I get that you will now have a different kid as a priority, but I'm sure that if SS was your bio son, you wouldn't have a problem doing what needs to be done for both kids." I am so hurt by that statement. I've taken care of my SS as if he was my own since he was 4 and I have never treated him any different. I am on maternity leave until May 2024, so I will be home, and my husband works 24-hour shifts, so he can't take him on the day that he's working, so that responsibility falls on me. My family lives an hour away, so that's not an option to help with driving or babysitting every day. My husband doesn't have contact with his family. So AITA for asking for help after the baby is born for a month or so? Edit. His bio mom works 5 days a week, 12-hour shifts. So she'd have to switch her schedule in order to take him to school every day. Edit. Thank you everyone for your feedback and concurring that I'm not crazy in this situation. I've been crying about this thing the entire morning. Pregnancy hormones aren't helping. I've read every single comment and the majority of you are correct. It's a hard pill for me to swallow, but I will have to put my foot down. I have a lot to think about and discuss with my husband. But I know one thing for sure is I'm not going to put my baby at risk by driving for such long periods of time. Thank you for caring about me. AITA for expecting my brother-in-law to pay for my sea-doo after he let my nephew wreck it. I just had my family out to the lake for Memorial Day. I work remotely from there, so it is not just a vacation home, it is my home. I am single and I like to buy myself toys. I also like to entertain. I own 2 Spark Trix 800cc Sea-Doos. They are a lot of fun but also really powerful. My sister and her family came up for the weekend. We had a good time and I had a blast towing the kids around on a tube. The problem came when one of my nephews wanted to drive the machine. I said no because, while I may call it a toy, it is not a toy. When I was in the house, my brother-in-law let my nephew drive. But they skipped a step because he is an idiot. He forgot to attach the tether clip to the life jacket. The kid lost control and fell off. Normally the tether is a dead man's switch and turns off the machine if the rider falls off. So then the Sea-Doo took off for a bit and then started making slow circles until it ran into a dock. A bunch of the plastic on the top broke and some just got badly scratched. They came and told me and I told him he had to pay for fixing my machine. He is mad because it was an accident. I said he took it and gave it to someone who didn't have permission or experience and he is responsible. My sister and I talked and she paid me for the parts I will need to fix. My brother-in-law is pissed because it came out of their fun budget and now he has to save up again for their vacation. AITA. Edit. My nephew wasn't hurt. Just scared because of falling off, almost getting run over by it, and having to swim to shore.